TAL futures press into a structural decision zone, as volume signals unfinished auction. Price holds above the 4-hour pivot, while an untested POC in the upper microband defines the next response. MacroStructure Trading Desk, TAL futures. Asia, London and New York, January 15th. Primary time frame, 4-hour execution layer, 1 hour plus volume profile. TAL futures continue to trade within a well-defined higher time frame structure, holding above the 4-hour central pivot at 48,852 for the 9th consecutive session. This level remains the structural floor of the current range, keeping the broader rotation constructive despite repeated intraday pullback. A price pattern that began forming in November 2025 is now approaching a decision point. Rather than breaking trend, price has compressed within structure, repeatedly testing its upper boundary while maintaining acceptance above the central pivot. Higher time frame structure, where the market is defined. The upper boundary of the current range is clearly defined by microbands 1 and 2 at 49,564 and 50,004. These levels have consistently capped upside attempts, reinforcing their role as active supply within the structure. As long as 48,852 holds, the market remains within the upper structural regime. Acceptance above 50,004 would complete the current auction and open rotation toward microbands 325, 50,362, 51,223. Failure back below the central pivot would signal a structural shift, exposing a deeper rotation into the lower structure with 48,207 to 46,548 in focus. At this stage, neither outcome has been confirmed. The structure remains intact, but unresolved. 1-hour execution layer. How price is behaving inside the structure. The 1-hour chart mirrors the 4-hour pattern with greater execution detail. Price continues to respect a rising structural channel, with pullbacks rotating cleanly into prior demand before re-entering the upper half of the range. Repeated rejection attempts, near 49,564 to 50,004, have stalled, but these have taken the form of controlled rotations rather than impulsive sell-offs. Dips below the central pivot have been brief and quickly reclaimed, reinforcing its role as a decision point rather than a breakdown level. This fractal alignment across timeframes suggests compression and absorption, not trend failure. Volume profile, the missing piece of the auction. Volume profile adds a crucial layer of confirmation. From January 6th onward, multiple points of control have already been revisited and consumed as price rotated through prior value. One exception stands out. The January 13th point of control, located within the microband 1 to 2 zone 49,564 to 50,004, remains untested and sits ahead of current price action. In an otherwise efficient auction, this untouched POC represents unfinished business. The market has spent time compressing beneath this zone without either confirming acceptance or rejection. This explains the repeated stalls near resistance. Volume has not yet migrated through the level. Point of control, microband interaction, execution framework. From a MacroStructure perspective, execution now depends on how price interacts with the January 13th POC. Desk takeaway. TAL futures remain structurally constructive, but unresolved. Price continues to respect higher time frame support, while compressing beneath a clearly defined ceiling. Volume confirms that most prior value has been resolved, except for one key, POC, sitting directly in the current decision zone. This keeps the desk focus unchanged. 48,852 defines the floor. 49,564 to 50,004 defines the ceiling. The January 13th POC will determine whether acceptance shifts higher or rotation resumes lower. Stay connected to the MacroStructure desk. You're welcome to subscribe and follow the desk for ongoing updates, as prices continue to trade around these levels across Asia, London, and New York. These desk updates document a structure-first process, observing how price accepts or rejects predefined levels over time. Coverage spans from futures, commodities, forex, bonds, crypto, stocks, and indices, with structure providing context before direction. This observation is for informational purposes only, and does not constitute financial advice.